Ça, c'est cette roue, c'était à côté des escaliers.
So we didn't participate in the Second World War. We were basically selling gunpowder raw materials. We take into our territory. We are the biggest country.
Yeah, we did it in Bangkok, and we did we did one in Vietnam too, because I did a cocktail. On some level, it was confirmation that I made the right decision, because this time around, it was very clear that the electorate chose to bring him back, despite all of the things that failed in the first administration, despite the poor handling of the pandemic, and the return of the rhetoric and the divisiveness. And so being here and seeing the second iteration, sequel if you will, and seeing that it's worse than the first time around, it is confirmation. Generally speaking, I think Americans still are flocking to European countries, and Portugal in particular. While there is a growing right-wing movement across many countries, that is troublesome. Nobody has a crystal ball in terms of how this is going to play out. We've seen right-wing factions start to rear their head in other countries, and then the electorate's been able to fight it back. And so that kind of gives at least some glimmer of hope that there is a chance that it won't be a complete and total takeover.
There was a lady, she was bringing statues in front of her.
No, I actually haven't.
Yes. The same style. Oh, wow. But it's very, very good. For me, it's one of my favorites.
This second term, different is that he has the U.S. Supreme Court. They've been able to successfully stack the court and create it where the Supreme Court has pretty much said anything that he does while he's president isn't illegal. And so what you're seeing right now is the administration testing the limits, the actual fabric of the Constitution.
Eu sempre vou lá, tem que ir lá, tem que ir.
Haven't been to yet.
In Africa?
Yeah.
Namibia.
Namibia. Yep.
Namibia. Yeah. And
Well, Susie stayed at home. And
yeah,
worked,
while
but
Susie worked, yeah. And it's only...
We love this country, but we don't love what it has become. And, you know, I think, you know, I don't pride myself in any way on using any of Trump's phrases, but to make America great again is to restore that respect that we have for each other and for the world, and to lead with compassion and not lead with revenge. The magnitude underscored the desire to leave, but if he had won by one electoral vote, we were still leaving, because the end result is that he would be president. But the magnitude of it just really underscored how pervasive his thinking had permeated society here in the States.
And then we couldn't get the flight connections. Right. We were like, oh, never mind.
When your identity is being attacked, there is a personal sense of just, you know, anger, frustration, and when your identity is used as a political pawn as well, and so members of the LGBTQ community, you know, who themselves are having a part of their identity attacked, are feeling in different ways that we need to fight back.
Well, Europe is not monolithic, so
we did consider Italy for a while because certainly it's a beautiful country, it has wonderful people. We've enjoyed traveling there, but politically, it's probably leaning a little bit too far to the right now, and we wouldn't want to move from a place that already has, sort of dictator fascist leanings, and head toward another country that may be fostering that as well, which is what made Spain and Portugal look more attractive to us as the sort of political climate better aligns with our values.
Madagascar, yeah, you've been to Madagascar.
Twice.
Twice.
Myanmar.
There we go. We are glad that we're here. We feel safer here. We feel like our rights are more upheld here in the UK compared to what they might be in the United States. We believe in democracy, and we do believe that democracy is being compromised under the current administration. And I joined their group of the Get Out the Vote. It's definitely within our plan to stay here on a permanent basis. So we are almost 3 years in. It will be year 5 before we can apply for indefinite leave to remain, which would give us a permanent residency. But then as soon as we can, it is our intent to apply for citizenship so that we would maintain and hold a dual citizenship between the two countries, yeah.
The amounts of requests have definitely increased. In fact, I mean, a little bit surprised at how much it has increased. Before, offering a service to moving to Italy, especially catered towards Americans, Italy is a country that Americans dream about, they love, and it's been that way for years now. The difference I'm seeing now is that while a lot of people were thinking about it or considering it, or maybe saying they do it, when they retired, I've seen people say, this was something I dreamt about, but it's something that I need to do now. And so they've gone from thinking to actually putting it in practice. So what I think is the most consistent overarching pattern is people are uncertain about what's happening and what's going to happen. And so they're saying, I want to have the option to leave.